Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the R&D show. We're your hosts. I'm Shad.
I'm Ryan.
And you're tuned into the R&D show.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody is feeling good, feeling great. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. You know what I'm talking about?
It's a Super Soul Sunday.
It is Spiritual Sunday. Happy Sunday, good Sunday. Blessed, be blessed. Hopefully you're blessed in the city, you're blessed in the field, you're blessed when you come and when you go.
Blessed in the city.
That's right. So we have a lot to talk about. We haven't seen y'all in a minute, so we have a lot to catch up on, and we're gonna jump right into it. Let's jump into one of our good brothers, Mr. Martell Holt.
Oh Lord, what's going on with him now?
Mr. Martell Holt. So apparently, Mr. Holt is back filming Love and Marriage.
Okay.
And he also, I guess, allegedly was ordered to be in therapy as well.
From the judge?
From the judge.
From the divorce case?
I guess so.
Okay.
That he has to, I guess, see a therapist regarding, his behavior and the things that have been transpired, things that have been said, so on and so forth, his actions.
I wonder what specific actions the judge was referring to. And it is for the benefit of his kids. So they don't necessarily trust him with his kids. I wonder why he's been ordered to be in therapy.
I do not know. But I think if that is the case, that's a really great thing for him. Because sometimes men in general, or Black people in general, won't do what's best for their mental health until they're forced to do it. And sometimes consequences, unfortunately, those bad and tough consequences force you to have to now do something different. And it's not always, a judge making this decision. Is now just that consequence of your action. Yeah. That forces you to now have to make that change.
It's forced you to make that change to be your better you. You want to end that suffering. And I guess in this case, if it is because of the kids, you want custody of your kids, right? So you're going to do what's ever necessary to get custody of your kids. I don't see it for trying to be back with Melody, right? I mean, I think that's not the case, right? So that ship is sailed. It probably has to do something with the kids.
Yeah, and just not only that, but like you just said, being able to co-parent or parallel parent, whatever the case may be. If the judge feels like you're no longer a safe space for these children, your environment is toxic, we don't trust these children to be in your care, you're gonna have to go through this process. Yeah. So that's just a force that he has to go through. And so hopefully that is the case, and that's what's going on. And again, it would be great if he willingly decided to do this, but anything helps. We'll take anything at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anything helps. And hopefully, it will help him be a better friend to his former spouse as well. So be a better all-around person. So we're even though we chastise Martell, we give him critical feedback, we still want the best for him. We still want him to be the best version of himself, as we want everyone to be the best version of ourselves. And we're all a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, Shad's a work in progress, but we just want to keep evolving to our highest self.
Because there's no perfect person. And every villain can become a victor, which means redemption, and they can do a 180. But you have to be willing to do the work. You know what I mean? In Martell's case, what we've seen is him not willing to do the work. So I guess he is back filming, whatever the case may be. He was deciding was him at Stormy had a event for Canvas Beauty, and I guess he was there filming with her, and so there's some outrage about that, especially when it comes to, I guess, A1 since day one fans of the show who just feel like he needs a break. And we even said that he needs a break, he needs to be put on pause just for his mental health. His mental and emotional health has been unfortunately shifted and compromised, and when that happens, a pause and a break is okay. The show will always be there, right?
I think a pause and a break is okay, but sometimes I guess maybe you might be scared of a pause and a break, like we talked about before. Because when you do a pause and a break, you're in silence. You have to sit with yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror And so maybe he's afraid of that. And then sometimes the pause and the break can lead you to down destruction. Now he doesn't have the show to rely on. Now he doesn't have this fame. Now he doesn't have these things. So it could be a downward spiral for him, but the downward spiral could lead to, maybe him forcing himself to go to therapy on his own, maybe him doing the work that's necessary where he can come back on his own terms and be a better version of himself. So it may, be something negative in the beginning, but it may lead to something positive in the end. Just like any adversity, adversity can make you stronger. It's about how you rebound from it.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, a man is not finished when he is done. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
But a man is finished when he quits.
Yeah.
And so you can be done right now, but you haven't given up.
Yeah.
You haven't finished this race. You're still running this race. And so it would have been great. But again, we're dealing with Carlos King, who creates these spaces of drama and thrives. This is what his brand is kind of, it's thriving off of messiness, off of drama. And so, of course, he's not going to just let him not be on the show that's number one on all number one.
Yeah.
And it's a hit show for him. And so one of the pieces of the show, of that puzzle, is Martell. And so he feels like that's a strong piece of that puzzle. And so I didn't think at all that he was going to put him on a pause or a break.
No, I didn't either.
No.
It's a money-making business, and people are interested in the story of Martell and Melody. He's been there since day one, so he's going to draw eyes, draw viewers. So, a decision he's going to have to make for himself. Unfortunately, I don't think the show will do it unless he does something really drastic, unless he's violent towards someone, very violent towards someone. I think that would be the only case where he may take a pause.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that, because we've seen some outbursts before, but he's never gone to the extreme. And then also, security comes in and separates people. But for Carlos, it's just good TV. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, even though the people that feel some type of way about him coming back are going to be the same people that's going to watch to see what happens. Mm-hmm. So regardless of how you feel about the situation, a viewer is going to be a viewer, because they're tuning in to see, okay, is what I'm thinking going to happen, or did he turn? Is he doing something better? Is he become more negative? Is he still going after Melody? Has he left her alone? And the only way to really find that out is, I guess, is to tune in and watch.
Yeah. And just think about if he did take a pause from the show, maybe there was some resolution that we won't get to see happen in real time.
Yeah.
And so, that's something that, we might want to see play out, so I'm kind of on the fence about it. You just hope that he has people around him to help guide him along the way, because I think you still can do the show, but you just need the right circle of people. You need strong people, strong family members, strong friends to kind of hold you more accountable.
And that's what we need to see. We need to see accountability. This should be a season of accountability, because I think that at this point, everybody on the cast knows what he's capable of doing. And even if it has not happened directly to them, it has happened to someone who you're filming with, who you have some type of relationship with, who you say you care about. If you care about this person, then you're more, you should be more, I'm not saying you just got to pick a side or whatever, but when you're governing yourself in a certain type of way, you should feel more like, I'm team this person. And it's not that I'm against you, it's just that I know what you're capable of and the things that you've done.
Yeah, and it may not feel good. Sometimes being or showing tough love may not feel good, but in the end, it could be helpful. It could be the catalyst for change. So I think a lot of times it feels uncomfortable to change how we interact with someone, but we could, in that moment, be teaching someone how to interact with us. And so it could be okay, that space of uncomfortability can allow, hopefully your relationship to grow if it's really a true, sincere relationship. So I think people are used to interacting with a certain way, but it may be time to switch it up.
Absolutely. And again, we talked about boundaries. Mm-hmm. And having a boundary, this boundary is in place based off of someone's actions and behavior. And it's not to keep them out, but it's more so to protect you from having to deal with a certain energy or a certain personality, a certain character. And again, we're not shunning this person because they are still capable of growth. They're capable of change. But until you're able to see that, how do you feel comfortable enough calling someone your friend when you're parading around with someone who is trying to damage the reputation and character of your friend?
I think sometimes it's easier just to go with the flow. I think when you really care about someone, you're going to challenge them. But like, I think true friends can have those difficult conversations with you and still be secure enough to know that your friendship is okay. You know, I just feel like people are not in the space of challenging him. And it's unfortunate, but maybe we'll see something different this season.
Yeah, hopefully we see something different this season, because that's what we've said before. We're not here to dismiss people or kick them out or act as if they don't matter, because he still matters. He's still an individual. He doesn't know how to deal with his trauma. He doesn't know how to deal with the chaos that he's caused, you know, because he's the root of it. Until you accept full responsibility of that and live in what you've done, you won't be able to move forward in a positive direction. You won't be able to establish these new connections or reconnect with people of these relationships that you've somehow destroyed. The biggest being your ex-wife, and it could potentially be the relationship that you have with your children. So you have to be very careful of the narrative that you create and that you put out there. Responsibility is very important, and with anything comes great responsibility, right? Yeah. So in any situation that you're in, like, he has a responsibility to Black men at this point, because you're on national television. You have a responsibility to show Black men that I can come back from this. You know, you may have done the same things that I've done, but look what I did to come back from this. You know, look how I was able to have redemption. You know, I did the work. I'm showing you that I'm going to therapy. I'm doing the work. I'm working on myself. And I want to be that example. So he has a responsibility, because that's the platform that he's on.
He has a responsibility. Most of all, he has a responsibility to himself.
Absolutely.
And I believe that Martell is an afraid little boy. He's scared. He's scared to really sit with the decisions he's made and really think about the impact. And I think it's really just fear that's driving him not to change, which is a lot of times it's fear to drive anyone not to change. It's fear why people don't like to go to therapy. They don't want to, again, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to sit with themselves. They don't want to say, man, I was the cause. You know, it's easier to say, you know, it's someone else's fault. But when you acknowledge that it's your fault, then you have to possibly do something to change. And so I'm rooting for Martell to be the best version of himself, and for his light to shine bright, because right now it's a little dim, but you know, he's human like everyone else, and it would be a great rebound story if he can, you know, get it together.
Absolutely, because we're not perfect people, and I think that it's easy for us to throw our rocks and hide our hands, you know, in the dark. But somebody that's throwing their rocks, they can't hide their hands when they're doing it in the light. You know what I mean? So nobody is perfect. So we have to be very careful of creating a narrative of perfection when it comes to actions and behaviors. I think that we all know that as human beings, we can make all the decisions and choices, right and or wrong, but we do not get to determine the consequences. And so that's just what it looks like as a people, because nobody is going to be a perfect person. You know, you can make all these decisions, but you cannot determine what those consequences look like. However, you can come back from those things if you've done the work. And that's what we want to see, is him come back from them. But what I will say is, it's important to stand together and everybody collectively hold someone accountable, so that they can see, okay, clearly there's a problem here, and the problem is only me. You can't be of women's rights or stand up for women or provide a safe space for women, and in the same breath invite a Martell Holt to be a speaker at your Women Empowerment Conference.
Did this happen?
This has happened.
Okay. What was the thought rationale behind that? What was this? I mean, what did they put out, or why they invited him? Because I'm confused.
you know, some people will create a story like I didn't know that this was going on, or I don't follow the story,
So why
I
are
have
you
no
inviting him on
idea.
the show? Why would you, if you don't follow the story, you don't know what's happening, you don't watch it, why invite him then?
You're just wanting to
A
attach yourself
celebrity?
to a celebrity name.
Okay.
And at one point in time, I think that he was very popular with black women because of his aesthetics and his
How long ago was
accomplishments in his
that?
career. It was a long time ago.
Okay, so like, I mean, that was year. I mean, like, come on, people.
So it makes it's pretty weird to see a woman, because it's definitely a woman, a black woman at that, attach herself
Maybe she wanted
to
a
someone who's
shot.
just
Maybe she wanted a
who
shot. You
knows.
know what you know, the females, they like Martell. You know, they take away
But
all the other stuff.
you can't scream and cry and holler about respect and protection, and then you go out your way to invite someone who was okay with doing revenge porn on his black wife. Is okay with allegedly, you know.
It's not a good business move.
I mean,
It's
he's
just
done a whole
dumb.
lot. It makes
It
no
doesn't make
sense.
it's not a good business move. So obviously, I'm not sure what she was thinking. Apparently, she wasn't.
But that's the problem with sometimes with us as a culture. We don't stand firm in our decisions. We don't stand firm in making sure that we're backing what's right, because we're so used to negativity drawing attention. We're so used to messiness still giving attention. And sometimes people don't care if it's good or bad, as long as it's attention. It's getting the views, it's getting the likes, it's getting the, you know, it's getting what they want, it's bringing the people out. That's why I think we'll never see a change in reality TV or just in general, because negativity sometimes, or should I say, a lot of the times outweighs anything that's positive that we're deciding to put our eyes on.
Yeah, because you look at the news. Most of the news is not good stories or heartfelt stories. It's about crime. It's about the negative things that are happening in communities. So it's always kind of been the case. In this situation, just thinking about, you know, where we are as a culture, we do have to be careful with the whole idea of just canceling people. I think it's a balance. I think we have to hold people accountable, but I think sometimes we go too far with the cancel culture. And you know, but I do think in this case, being a black woman, there was a black woman empowerment conference. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to invite Martell, but on the flip side, we have to be careful in general, not really in this instance, but when we just completely cancel people that have different ideas than we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in this instance, these are not ideas, these are actions as well. So actions, repetitive actions that have really hurt his family, hurt other people, and I think also hurt black women. Just to see their own fellow black women being treated this way, it's been triggering. So I think it is a complex situation. I don't get why he was invited to the conference. I don't get the cancel culture, because we're all human. No one really wants to be completely canceled. There are some things sometimes where people need to be completely canceled, but we have to be careful. I think we have to be careful.
There are some, especially if you have a platform, I think that there are some things where it's just like, okay, you've done way too much. You definitely need to be canceled. I mean, I ain't gonna say no names, but I personally feel like I know a few celebrities who don't deserve that title anymore.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you would think having a women's empowerment conference, the main person that I would have invited or tried to really get to be a part of this would have been Melody, because the way that she's been able to navigate through the storm, you know what I mean? Because the storms of life, it can come and go and the winds will blow, but the way that she escaped that thing and with nothing but God is a true testament of empowerment. So why wouldn't you invite somebody who can really empower these women to live their best life, to do what they have to do to free themselves from bondage, from the things that hold them back, to free themselves from that fear, you know? And that would have been the smartest move. I feel like inviting Martell is going to get people talking, but it's not going to serve the purpose. So we have to be very careful of what this purpose is. And if your purpose is to empower women, then you've done a disservice.
Amen.
You've done a disservice in that.
Amen. I have nothing to add to that, because that made no sense. The obvious choice would have been Melody. It would have been Stormy. It would have been somebody else. It would
I
have
mean,
been
hell,
Kimmy,
even Letitia.
even Letitia. All these women have done some amazing things. I don't get why you're inviting Martell to women empowerment at this point where he is right now. Yeah. Maybe 2 years from now where he's evolved and changed. Okay, but not today.
Not today. Yeah.
Not today.
Maybe a year or two from now, but not today. Definitely not today. But teach his own. You know, people are going to do what they want to do for whatever reason that they're doing it for, and then come back and try to justify those reasons. But I just feel like that was, as a black man, I feel like that was a bad move for the movement of black women and where you guys feel you've been and where you're trying to get to. So it's like you talk about certain things and how, again, the most disrespected and unprotected, but then you invite someone who has been the most disrespected and has not protected, so it just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's also, it can be a us thing, a black people thing from time to time, because we sometimes can be the most disrespectful to us. Yeah. You know, you can go into a McDonald's and, you know, the lady or the young lady who's taking your order, what do you want? You know, it's just kind of like, a white person come in, you know, they're really nice and really polite. We can be not kind and respectful to each other. And I wonder if that has to do, you know, with the inferiority complex. And we think sometimes other races are superior, or also with the idea of someone's always beneath us and you can put another black person beneath you. It's just really interesting how we sometimes treat each other instead of lifting each other up. You know, I went to this one place, I forget the name of it, here in Atlanta. It's called Empowerment Center, I think. And when you go in, everybody calls each other kings, queens. It's like really uplifting energy. You know, you walk into this space, it's mostly black people. How you doing, my king? How you doing, my brother? How you doing, my queen? And just really putting a positive energy. And we don't do that to each other often, you know.
And with you saying that, I will remind you watching this, you have a right to expect nothing but great things. That's your right to expect great things. And not only that, you give people permission as to how they treat you. And so if you feel like someone is treating you in a way that I have not given you this permission to talk to me this way, to treat me this way, then you also have permission to remove yourself and to not have a relationship on a certain level with this person, or to even be, you know, entertain that type of energy. And so always remember that you have a right to expect great things. And if the things that you're getting are not great, then you have a right to walk away. So expect what you accept. Expect what you accept at the end of the day. And so I expect and accept nothing but greatness, as we all should. And unfortunately, like Ryan just said, black people, unfortunately, we can be our worst enemy. And so we are the reason for the regression and not the progression, because of our actions and behavior toward each other, because of the things that we decide to stand. I'm standing on business on this, and what you're standing on business on is terrible. It's negativity. It's nothing that is is positive. It's nothing that's moving the culture and pushing the culture forward. It's pushing us back. And I've recently become active on Twitter, and I feel like Twitter is not a safe space, but it's a space that has shown me what it looks like of black culture standing on business to push us backwards. Mm. And it's you do not really have a voice of reason on Twitter. It's more so much confusion, drama, chaos, and negativity. If you voice an opinion on there and somebody does not like it, and you don't have to be cursing, you don't have to even point fingers, you're just voicing an opinion, they will eat you alive. Like literally curse you out, eat you alive, and say, and what I've learned from things is, I'm not gonna go back and forth with people that only exist on Twitter. You know, I don't know you, you don't know me. So why would I come out of myself to curse out someone, to get into this space of negative energy over somebody that I do not even know, over somebody that does not even exist in my world? You only exist on a platform that I can ignore. I can block you. You know, I can mute you, whatever the case may be. I don't have to look at none of those things. So we have to be very careful of what we give our energy to. And I've seen someone say on another platform, I feel so socially and emotionally and mentally burned out from social media because there's so much negativity. And so what I told them is that you have to take a mental break from social media. You cannot allow social media to consume your world 24/7. It can if you allow it to, but be like me, I delete every single app on my phone because that frees me from it. You know what I mean? I take these breaks and I won't get back on for a long time. So the only platform that I've been really active on is my YouTube channel, because you're giving more, I'm giving more of my authentic and my great energy to something that I'm passionate about. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in a space where it's always just negative, negative, negative. It's not that you're looking for it, but you can just log on and boom, that's the first thing you see. So we have to be very careful, because the media controls the mind. And if you're allowing that negative media to be in your mind, then that's going to consume mind, body, soul, and spirit. So you will feel burned out. You will feel overstimulated in a negative way. You feel overwhelmed. And so we have to be very careful of those things.
We have to be very careful of those things. Also, we can expect great things.
Absolutely.
But also, it's nuance. We can expect not so great things, but it doesn't mean we have to accept them. Because human beings are going to be human beings at the end of the day. And even if we expect great things, we know people are susceptible to not treat us the best. So it's not, diving into it. It's not giving into that negative space. It's more of saying, okay, you be negative over here, and I'm gonna be over here. So, but
you be negative over here, and I'm gonna be great over here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you be negative over here, and I'm gonna be great over here. That's what I meant to say. Thank you.
I'm gonna be positive and great.
Positive and great over here. Keep your negative energy over there, and I'm gonna be all light and love over here. So people are gonna always be nasty, but you have to teach people how to treat you.
Absolutely. And I'll take the Michelle Obama route on social media. They go low, I go high. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not gonna. Why would I? Again, why would you waste your time going back and forth with somebody that does not even exist in your world? You don't even know this person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they're hiding behind a picture that's not even them half of the time. Yeah. And you're giving so much energy wanting to argue, and there's no fulfillment in that. For me, there's no fulfillment in that. I find joy in ignoring people that get to argue with themselves. You don't roll 15 paragraphs and you're arguing with yourself. I mean, look at Nicki Minaj. She went on the whole spiral arguing with herself and kept going because she wasn't getting a response. And so she spiraled for 7 days and 7 nights. Like, we have a choice as to what we choose to give our energy to and our time, and what we choose to entertain. You know what I mean? And so Twitter is just not a safe space when it comes to voicing your opinion. So you have to be prepared for that. But at the same time, you can't be afraid of standing in the gap. You know what I mean? You cannot be afraid of having a different perspective and or opinion, because that's the only way to be the change that we want to see. That's the only way to be able to have accountability. That's the only way to be able to help move the culture forward.
And a lot of times when you are being cutting edge, when you are trying to move things forward, people are not going to initially accept it because they're not used to it. They're not used to hearing that. They're used to seeing what is typical. So it may be uncomfortable to hear you say certain things, but then they'll eventually come around. It's kind of like, anytime you have an invention and a new product, there's like the concept of the early adopter. That means you're on the cutting edge. You're buying it first, things like that. But I think in this scenario, when you say something that's new and people haven't been used to hearing, it's gonna trigger people.
Absolutely.
And they may have an immediate reaction, but they take time to really sit and not react out of fear and really sit with it. They might, well, maybe he actually does have a point, or, but I think it's that fear. It's just something new they haven't heard that causes them to initially respond negative.
And with you saying that, and I want y'all to get y'all pen in your paper or just grab your phone, what I put in response to something, there were some people that were just responding, and we're going to talk about this in our next video, but they were just responding so brutal or so angry. What I realized, and I had to stop and realize, is sometimes people are going to react and or respond from their place of healing or trauma. People will react or respond from their place of healing or trauma. What does that mean? Sometimes when you are healed, you're going to respond accordingly. But if you are still dealing with that trauma or have not healed that trauma, you're going to respond on that level of wherever that is. And so I give people grace in knowing that sometimes people are going to react and or respond from that level of healing or trauma. Some people have not done the work, and so they're going to be so angry in their response. Case in point, Martell. There's some things that happened with Martell when he was younger, and some of that played out on the show in conversations with his mother, and even the things that he said in general about himself. And so without healing little Martell, the trauma that he endured, it impacts your somatic memory. And somatic means the body. So the things that your body felt during that tragic experience, during that trauma, during whatever that was, that stressful moment, your body still feels that if you have not done the work to heal it. And so you can grow up in this same body of experience, and so that body is going to react from whatever happened then.
Really interesting. Eckhart Tolle, he's a spiritualist. He calls it the pain body. It's your pain body reacting. It's the emotion. It's all the trauma that's built up that sometimes causes you to react in a certain way because your pain body is feeling attacked. It's feeling the pain.
Yes.
So you're responding from that sense of pain and trauma.
And because I know how it feels to be in a space of being bullied or maybe, having low self-esteem as a kid and going through these things, because for me, family was my first bully. It wasn't outsiders, it was family. And so I know that feeling. So I because I've done the work, I'm always going to speak up for people who I feel have been bullied. But I'm not going to attack the bully. I'm going to hold the bully accountable, hoping that the bully will eventually get the help that they need so that they can be in a better space. You know what I mean?
Why was family your first bully? I don't want to go too far off, our topic, but just curious.
Next video.
Okay.
We can dive into that.
I know you guys are probably wondering about that, so that's why I asked that question.
And unfortunately, in a lot of Black households or a lot of Black cultures, family was the first bully. And we'll dive into that in another video. But that just shows you, when I do talk or when I give my perspective or opinion, it's coming from a place of healing and not trauma. Because I don't live in that space. I've done the work to unpack whatever that was so I can be the man that I am today. And I continue to unpack as I get older, because we still face, different adversities throughout our life. So it's very important for us to do what we got to do that work, spiritually and mentally.
Amen.
So Martell, if it is true that you are actively doing the work, brother, we do applaud you.
Amen.
Because small celebrations
Salute you, brother,
are sometimes greater than big celebrations. And this will be a celebration to applaud you on taking that first step of doing what you have to do to start the healing process. Because we want to see you on television and in general, living your whole true self, presenting this whole new Martell that is living in peace and not in pieces.
Yeah.
Showing up your full self.
We are rooting for you.
Absolutely.
We can root for Martell and still root for Melody. We're rooting for everybody. We want both of them to win.
We're rooting for everybody Black.
Everybody Black.
I said that before. We're rooting for everybody Black because we want everybody Black to win in a positive way. To win mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, whatever the case may be. We want you to win your greatest win.
We want everybody Black.
But we want
everybody in general.
Everybody
in general. But we love our Black people. But
because we're inclusive. We're inclusive to
everybody.
Everybody. Sometimes we speak to the Black culture because that's where we're from. But we love everybody in general.
For people.
And our heart is for the world in general.
For the world.
Our heart is for the world, and we want what's right for everybody.
Yeah.
Positivity for everybody.
Amen.
At the end of the day. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode of the R&D Show. Feel free to leave your comments. I want you to thumbs up this video, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. If this is your first time watching the R&D Show, hello. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, and we will catch you on the next video. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.
All right.
Peace.